I wanted to take a moment to review with you your movie analysis assignment. For this assignment, you will have the option to watch any of the movies listed here, and there's quite a few options there for you to choose from. So if anybody has any issues with watching any of these movies, please reach out to me and let me know, and we'll try to find an alternative for you. But for the majority of you, you'll need to pick one of these movies and watch them. And then after watching the movie, you're going to identify and analyze the portrayal of the featured mental illness in the movie. So please know that for this assignment, you are not creating a summary or a review of the movie. You're analyzing the character's portrayal and the movie's depiction of whatever mental illness is involved in the movie. So to make the disorder become more relevant, you'll address three components of the film. First of all, you're going to look at the accuracy of the portrayal of the mental illness. So some questions that you need to consider and answer for this section is, how is the character shown to be mentally ill? Discuss how the character is portrayed in the film. Does the film say what the condition is? If so, do they state how the condition was diagnosed? If it does not show how the condition was diagnosed, state that in your response so that I'll know that you did look for it, but it wasn't there. Then what is the diagnosis criteria for the mental illness depicted in the movie? So this information is going to come from your textbook, so it needs to be cited and referenced in your paper. Then does the character meet the criteria listed for the diagnosis that you looked up? So be specific there. Does the character meet those criteria, and then break them down and tell me, if so, which ones. That's what I mean by be specific. Tell me which ones it meets. Don't just say, yes, the character meets the criteria, right? And then the last question that you need to answer for section 1 is, in what ways does the movie accurately represent the disorder and or misrepresent it? And then you need to explain your answer using specific examples from the movie. So those 5 questions need to be answered in section 1. Then section 2, the treatment recommendations. So there's 4 questions there that you need to answer. Number 1 is, how is the illness treated in the movie you chose? Again, if there's no treatment shown, just be sure to state that in your response. Then the second question, what other treatments are available? So especially if this movie is older, are there new therapies that are now available that maybe weren't available then? Then the third question, what might be a possible OT treatment plan for this character? So think about what OT could do to help this particular person. And the last question in this section, what safety concerns may need to be considered while treating this client? And then explain your answer. Then for the third section, you'll have an option to choose one of the 2 following points to address. So you're going to choose the one that applies most appropriately to the film that you watched. So the 2 possible points for you to address are professional ethics and the perpetuation of stigma. So under professional ethics, there's 4 potential questions. How are the doctors and therapists depicted? What are their interactions with the character who's diagnosed with the mental illness? How are these professionals helping or hurting the situation? And in your opinion, what is the purpose of depicting mental health care professionals in this light? Then for the second possible point, which is the perpetuation of stigma, there's 3 potential questions, which are, what are the false statements or depictions of mental illness in the film? Are they accurate descriptions or depictions, and how do you know? And why are the aspects of illness so misrepresented? So what that's looking at is, how is the film kind of feeding into some of the stigma that we have regarding mental health? So I also want to point out to you guys for this assignment that you need to pay attention to your rubric. Your rubric is going to tell you exactly what it is I'm going to be looking at when I'm grading this assignment. So breaks down point by point. Did you do an analysis of the disorder? Did you discuss the accuracy of the portrayal? Did you give me a discussion of the treatment, safety considerations, etc.? So just make sure all of those areas are also discussed in your paper so that you will receive full points. Also notice here that the clarity and mechanics of writing and APA formatting is also included, so be sure to pay attention to that as well. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me and let me know.